Everybody. For this new lesson, we are going to be designing our own shoes. Um, Before we begin, I want to introduce you to some interesting shoe designers and artists that I think will be good inspiration for this lesson. One artist that I wanted to introduce you to, his name is Duane Edwards. This is not a picture of him, but it is a picture of his school. He owns a school called Pencil Academy in Oregon, and it teaches students how to design shoes. And he's a very, very famous shoe designer. Edwards has worked to create two Nike Air Jordans, and only 8 people in the world have had the opportunity to design for Jordan. So it's a very, very prestigious accomplishment. And he created this shoe school for other people who have a passion for shoe designing. I definitely want you to click on the link about this school and just learn a little bit about it because it's pretty amazing. Another inspiration for this assignment is a friend of mine, actually, and his name is Justin Cloud. He's a local artist, and he's an artist. He's not a designer, so the shoes that he makes aren't really supposed to be worn in real life, but are supposed to kind of communicate an exciting feeling about shoes and try to create a shoe design in an interesting way that maybe we haven't seen before. If you look at these images, you can see he's using really interesting materials on his shoes. So over here, he's got some rubber rope, and he's added some additional rubber foam here. And on the other side here, you can see he's cut out certain shoe shapes and added interesting straps. So what I love about his work is the way that he's using a variety of textures and materials to change what a shoe can be. There's also a really interesting video about high heel shoes that I want you all to watch. It's on the link. High heel shoes come in so many different varieties of forms, and you'll be looking at high heel shoes from different cultures and different time periods. So I want you to look at these examples first because they're really going to inform how you think about your design. Afterwards, on a sheet of paper, what I'd like you to do is think about what kind of shoe you'd like to design yourself. If you want to design a flat shoe, you would draw a simple flat foot. If you wanted to design a shoe that was a little bit high, like 1 inch or so, then you would put the shoe slightly at an angle, and you can see the way I've drawn these 2 circles to represent the different parts of our foot, our heel, and the ball of our foot. And then if you want to draw a higher high heel, you would draw something more at an angle. So you'll go ahead and you'll do that. And then I want you to think about what kind of shoe you want to make. There are so many different kinds, certainly more than these 6. But if we think about different categories of shoes like boots or slippers, high heels, sneakers, sandals, and certainly there's more than that. Sometimes just starting with a general idea of what type of shoe you want to create is a good place to start. Now, as we go through this process, our goal is going to be to design a type of shoe that's really unique or interesting. So if you think to yourself, okay, I want to design a boot, please remember boots come in all sorts of interesting shapes and designs. And I don't want to see people just copying things from the internet. I want to see you making something new. And I will be talking about criteria that could help you make a new design. One little thing I wanted to point out, though, before we move forward, is that you can combine different types of shoes to create a really interesting, unique hybrid of both. So here we can see there's kind of strappy sandals, and then there's these loose boots, and if you put them together, you get these kind of loose boot sandals, which I think are really unique and interesting and different. So just snooping around the internet, looking at some interesting designs, you'll start to see interesting combinations. This one is boots and sandals. I've seen some that are high heels and sneakers. The combinations are endless. Now, in the PowerPoint, it lists the different criteria that I want you to demonstrate, and I want to go over those now. The number one important thing I want to see in your design is that you exaggerate something on your design. So for example, let's say this is a normal sandal. Okay, pretty normal. Maybe you even own a pair of sandals that looks like this. This is an exaggerated sandal. The bottom is super thick and chunky. It's kind of this puffy rubber, and if you see it on the PowerPoint, it's in full color. this part of the shoe has been exaggerated. I want one part of your shoe designed to be exaggerated in some way. Another thing I'd like you to do in your design is use at least 2 textures or more. So if we think about these pair of Nike shoes, which are a little bit kind of boring, I kind of describe them as a level 1 for texture. Maybe the only texture they have is like mesh. Whereas if we look at Justin Cloud's example, we can see a large variety of textures. You're trying to create a design that's unique and different and that we've never seen before. There's nothing wrong with something plain. I wear plain shoes. But since we're drawing something, we really want to exaggerate it and make it really different. So use a variety of textures. You can see, again, he's using bumpy rubber, mesh, and rubber chain link. I put on the PowerPoint different examples of certain textures you might commonly see in shoes that you can pull from when you're making your design. Some shoes might come with metal studs or spikes, others an animal print, leather, plastic, lots of plastic soles, rhinestones, or rhinestones, so kind of like these shiny surfaces. Here, different types of shiny plastics or reflective surfaces, fur, and also mesh, which is actually quite common in a lot of sneakers these days. So here's just some textures that you can choose to combine, but you're not limited to these. And then finally, for each, I'm going to do a very quick demonstration on how you might draw your design. Please remember everyone's design is going to be really different, so do not copy my design, and please do not copy designs off the internet. I can tell when you trace things off your computer screen. It's very obvious. So try to do this on your own. First thing I want you to do is select a type of angle you want your foot at. I'm going to go with just a plain flat angle. And so I'm going to draw a large circle for the heel, a small circle for the ball of the foot, and simply connect it for the middle. Do a small curve here for the toes, and then up for the ankle. So that's the first step. The second thing that I'm going to do is just start to think about those criteria: exaggeration, texture, and details. I can maybe come up with a certain theme that I want to do. If you don't know how to begin, that's totally fine. I didn't know at all where to start. What started to happen with me, if we look at this example up here, is I started to think about mixing textures that represented nature and then something more human-made. So I was thinking about the texture of fur being something from nature, and then the texture of plastic as being something human-made. But I don't want you to feel that you have to copy my theme. Maybe your interest is something totally different, okay? So if I were to kind of walk through those steps of what I did, I thought about, okay, what do I want to do? Well, I want to exaggerate the bottom. So I kind of knew that that's something that I wanted to do from the beginning. That was a starting point for me. So I just started with that simple kind of exaggerated sole. You can see it's really thick. Then I thought, okay, what kind of detail do I want? Well, I want some kind of like side flap kind of Velcro-y thing. So I went in and I added that. I also thought about, well, what's another area that I want to exaggerate? I want to exaggerate the tongue in some kind of way. The tongue is like kind of the flap that you put your foot in. And I wanted to exaggerate fur. So I'm starting to think about these like big components. And then I went in and just started to erase away some of the old pictures so I have room for my shoe design as it develops. Okay, I know I kind of want to work with a boot theme as well. That seems to be what's emerging. I kind of like these triangular reflections, so I went in and I started to draw those. I got to this point with the triangle reflections and I thought, what other kind of texture do I want to add? And originally I started looking at the leather picture and I started drawing these kind of leather straps. But then I thought, as I was drawing it, that it just didn't excite me the way the fake fur, not real fur, the fake fur was kind of exciting me. So I went in and I looked at the pictures online and I started to create that furry texture. And I actually erased away my original design of the leather. And I really want to emphasize that point. It's not like I miraculously had a shoe in mind. My idea evolved over time. And I'm not even saying that this is a good idea. It's just kind of like what I came up with. So I went in and I created fur with this. And then I did a little research looking online at different shapes of soles of shoes, the bottom of shoes. And I kept with my kind of like plasticky, diamondy shape and just went in and drew those details. Okay. And I continued onward. I started to add different details to my texture up here, the different shine marks, and continue to shade in and intensify my fur. Okay? One last thing I want to say before I go is that some of you might choose a high heel, and I'm posting a video of a shoe designer that actually was drawing high heels in person, and I think that will help some of you. Okay? So boys and girls, I look forward to seeing your shoe designs. Make it weird, original, unique, different. Finally, I want to emphasize before I forget, remember, no logos. No logos, unless you're going to make your logo. I don't want to see a Nike swoosh. I don't want to see Adidas stripes. I don't want to see, Christian Dior or Gucci. I want to see your logo or no logo. Second, final thing, please remember, you can design for any gender. You can be a boy that designs girls' shoes. You can be a girl that designs boys' shoes. You can be a boy that likes to wear girls' shoes. You can be a girl. You can be a person that doesn't think you're a boy or a girl and designs for whatever you want. I don't want you to feel like you have to stick to the kind of shoes that match your gender. You can kind of pick anything you want. There's many women that design men's clothes. There's many men that design women's clothes. Okay. Now I look forward to seeing your drawings, boys and girls.